Excel allows us to also create something known as a form. See, nowadays we all use Google Forms. Google Form is something which has become very popular over a period of maybe 4-5 years. 4-5 years, say Google Form has become very famous, very popular. But before that, a lot of forms used to be created in Excel. So in simple words, Excel has got the capability of being able to create a form which can have radio buttons, checkbox, drop down, all the different aspects which generally a form has, multiple choice, so many options are there, right? So today what I'm showing you all is obviously the trend has changed. It's no more people are using it, but there's this particular aspect which I'm showing you all now. There is something which is more than a form. It is like a checklist we are creating. It could be, I am giving you all an example of a very, it's a very fun example I'm giving you all कि भाई अगर कोई holiday पे जा रहा है और उसको choose करना है या I'm going for a holiday and you choose different options whether I've carried everything with me or not. He wants to check that. Is he ready to go or not? The same way, instead of a holiday, it can also be a project where there are different aspects which have to be covered up for completing a project. तो जहाँ पे मैंने passport, sun cream, money, medication लिखा हुआ है, वहाँ पे you can put the different items which are required for a project to be successfully completed. Same example, but the content will change. चलिए, how do we get this checkbox? Now Excel has got a separate tab known as a developer tab. Yeah, at the moment you can't see the developer tab over here. ये help आ रहा है, view आ रहा है, review आ रहा है, data आ रहा है, formulas आ रहा है. Developer कहीं पे लिख के नहीं है. So when I go into the file option and when I go into options, under options there is a button known as customize ribbon. Under customize ribbon देखिए यहाँ पे मेरा developer tab is switched off. I'm just going to switch on the developer tab. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And there you go. I got my developer tab. Now, under the developer tab, as I told you, Excel was also used to create forms. So developer tab, there is an option known as insert, under which there are two things that can be inserted. One we call as form controls. And the second we call as ActiveX controls. The form controls are those controls which can be implemented without using any formula or without using any previous knowledge of programming. Whereas an ActiveX control requires you to have certain programming knowledge. In simple words, knowledge of Visual Basic. That's called VBA program. So we are going to a normal form control. So we just click on this checkbox and we say, okay, I got a plus sign. Kahan banana hai? I say I want to put a checkbox over here. I'm just going to draw my checkbox and leave it. There you go. You can see a checkbox has come. On off karte hain, to tick mark on off aata hai. First class. It's looking good. Go right click on this checkbox, but I don't want this word checkbox to be written here. So I'm just going to try to delete all that out. There you go. And to move this checkbox, if I do left click to it to tick mark ho raha hai, I will right click on this checkbox and I will with my left mouse button move this checkbox and place it exactly where I want to place it. This is how I got a checkbox. But right now, the checkbox is nothing but a small little drawing. I have not yet activated the features. So now let's make it productive. आ गया checkbox, अभी इसको convert करते हैं. Now, before I can actually convert this, what I will do is I will just copy and I will just start pasting it. But you'll realize when I'm pasting it, it's just getting randomly pasted. It's not coming inside the cell because logically, if you ask me, the checkbox is not actually getting into the cell. We are just placing it inside the cell. The checkbox actually is an independent entity. It has got nothing to do actually with this particular cell. But I'm just creating that, like they say now, superimpose effect. Like as if the checkbox is a part of this particular cell. So you say, sir, what if I don't use this method, and what if I just drag this? So what happened? When I dragged it, the checkbox has come. I didn't have to do a copy paste. Just like how you use an autofill to fill a number, the same way you can autofill your checkboxes also. So even though they have given you the option of copy and paste, if you want to replicate a checkbox in a continuous data range, you just go to the side handle and drag it. It will come wherever you want it to come. Yes, everybody clear? To delete it, I have to just right click on the checkbox, left click and press delete. Okay. So I've successfully created a checkbox for all my cells. सब cells में checkbox आ गया. Now we want the checkbox to become functional. To make it functional, the checkbox has got something known as format control. A format control is basically just showing me the functionality of this particular checkbox. As to when a person clicks on the checkbox, what should happen? What should be the result when a person clicks the checkbox? So I say, okay, first aspect is value. Value means right now the checkbox, what is it? Is it checked, unchecked? I'll say it's unchecked. It has to always be unchecked first. I can't be having a checked box before a person can click it. That's why we always keep value as unchecked. Let a person go and click manually over there. Think it. That's the first aspect. Second, cell link. Okay, when a person clicks on it, there has to be some action which has to take place on your sheet, for which we need to link a cell to that tick mark. If you have tick mark ho, तो या तो true आए या तो false आए. So where do you want to link this cell so that the value can be displayed? So I say I want the cell value to, let's say, be displayed in the D column, for example. So यहाँ पे instead of putting an equals to or anything which we put in case of a formula, I'm simply going to put $D $2. So my cell value is going to come in $D $2. Click करके देखते हैं. There you go. So after we drag this, so till we create this checkbox, the checkbox has not been assigned any activity to do. It's come as a drawing for us, isn't it? We want to activate these checkboxes so that it gives us some result. Based on that result, I will carry out the calculation. As simple as that. So to create a result or to activate my checkbox, I will right click on this checkbox and I will say, please format control. That's why the word format control is there, because it's telling us that to activate or to give control to this checkbox. When I do format control, it opens a window for me. First aspect it tells me is कि value क्या देना है आपको. I say value तो unchecked होगा. Unchecked मतलब when a person sees the form, the tick mark should not be there on the checkbox. Checkbox should be blank. That's why value is unchecked. Then the question comes, when a person does a tick mark, where do you want the result to be shown? कहीं ना कहीं तो result दिखाना पड़ेगा ना. So I say I am going to link a cell where I want the result to be visible. So I decide to choose D2. Why D2 I chose? Because it is in the same line as B2. As simple as that. इसीलिए मैंने D2 choose किया. तो result बिल्कुल बाजू में आ जाएगा. Yes. So एक aspect clear हो गया कि ये चेकबॉक्स बन गया. उस चेकबॉक्स में हमने एक वैल्यू भी असाइन कर दिया है कि भाई जो D2 में दिखा रहा है हमको ट्रू या फॉल्स. This unfortunately you need to do for all the checkboxes. इसका शॉर्टकट नहीं. अब बोलोगे सर ऐसे कैसे? हाँ, इसका नहीं है शॉर्टकट. अगर मैं इसको ड्रैग करता हूं तो यही वैल्यू ड्रैग हो रहा है. See, it's not working because these values are just a copy of the value which came on the top. Every single checkbox has to be independently linked to a independent cell. That is the only problem when you create too many checkboxes. You have to manually go here into format control and specify कि आपका next cell क्या है. Suppose मैं ये cell click कर दूं, मैंने टाइप नहीं किया, मैंने क्लिक किया, देखिए आ गया $D$3 आ गया ना. मैंने टाइप थोड़ी किया, मैंने सिर्फ क्लिक किया. ये लीजिए शॉर्टकट तरीका बता रहा हूं आपको. राइट क्लिक, फॉर्मेट कंट्रोल, गो टू सेल लिंक and all you do is click like this. For every single checkbox I have to simply do this process in order to create a proper activated checkbox which will give me a definite result. That's why we need to do this for every single checkbox which we have in Excel. Every single checkbox has to be given the same functionality. तो ये एक तरीका है. Right click, go to format control and just click on the cell where you want the value to appear. इससे क्या होगा कि automatically मेरे सब cells में activity हो. Now when I will tick, watch, all are working beautifully. So one aspect we have completed. But this is not our main idea. ये checklist create करने का हमारा ये थोड़ी idea है. हमको ये पता लगाना है कि am I good to go. Main तो ये है. How do we create that? तो ये जो total items हैं, those are the number of items you have to carry. In this case, I have to carry 10 items. तो ये manually type कर दिया मैंने. I have to carry 10 items. Now, how do you decide the items packed? ये जो items packed हैं, वो कैसे decide होगा? जो items packed है, it will be decided based on. Tell me, can somebody tell me? Will it be based on checkbox or will it be a manual entry? So I'm going to put over here equals to count if and I'm simply going to tell Excel that all the data which is coming in my range D2 to D11, all that data has to be true. Only when all the data is true, only then will you put over here the number of items I have packed? Interesting, huh? The reason I use a COUNTIF formula is because COUNTIF formula will count the number of values that he can see based on a condition. And the condition is what we call as criteria. So whenever I use a COUNTIF formula, उसमें दो part होते हैं. The first part is called range, and the second part is called a criteria. ये है मेरे COUNTIF के दो elements. ये दो में अगर आपको पता है क्या डालना है, you will know how to use the COUNTIF formula. There's no rocket science in it. But you have to understand कि ये दोनों aspect is required and why is it required. So पहला aspect है range. That means जो data you want to count, where is that data? You have to specify in the range. And criteria is that what value do you want in that particular data to give you a final result. So I say in this case, the value I'm looking for is true. That whenever my data will be true, you will display a number for me. And that number will be the number of trues. जितने बार मेरे true आएंगे उतने बार आप एक नंबर डिस्प्ले करोगे. अगर 2 बार ट्रू है तो 2, 3 बार ट्रू है तो 3, 6 टाइम्स ट्रू है तो 6. That is the main purpose of COUNTIF. He will figure out the data from a set of range which you give them, and based on your criteria, he will display a number. Yes. So now we know that the items packed will come only when I do a tick mark to the items which I have packed. Now I'm coming to, am I good to go? ये क्या है? तो for example अभी मैंने पासपोर्ट पैक कर दिया, सनस्क्रीन पैक कर दिया, मनी ले लिया, मेडिसिन ले लिया, कैमरा तो आजकल लेता नहीं कोई मोबाइल की वजह से, बट ले लिया, टूथब्रश भी ले लिया, ट्रैवल डॉक्यूमेंट ले लिया. मोबाइल फोन के बिना तो चलेगा नहीं आदमी. I forgot a good book and I forgot a swimming costume. ठीक है. So I have packed only 8 items out of 10. So am I good to go? No, I'm not. Because as per my criteria, all 10 items should be packed. Otherwise, it does not make sense. Isn't it? The idea is only that. No? Like I told you, forget about this being a holiday checklist. For a minute, think of it to be a project that has to be completed. There are 10 different elements in the project. There are 10 different stages. And as you finish one stage, आप जाके tick mark करते हो. Second stage खत्म किया, आप जाके tick mark करते हो. और आपका ये फाइल आपके सुपीरियर के पास चला जाता है, तो उसको एग्जैक्टली पता है कि आपने कौन से एस्पेक्ट्स कंप्लीट कर दिए हैं प्रोजेक्ट के और कौन से बाकी बचे हुए हैं. Now it's making sense. The same holiday checklist has now become a checklist of completing a project. And these 10 items could be the 10 different stages of completing a project. So naturally, जब तक मेरे सब 10 complete नहीं होते हैं, that means जब तक total items packed and the total items that I'm supposed to carry are not equal, I am not ready to go, or I have not completed my project. So simple है. the condition is very simple. This and this have to be equal. तो equals to if का फॉर्मूला यूज करेंगे यहां पे. बड़ा सिंपल है, कंडीशन है भाई, इसलिए if फंक्शन आ गया. So if what is equal to what? If B14 is equal to B13, then you will give the answer yes. Otherwise, you will give the answer no. So अब when I press enter, first class no आ गया. जैसे ही वो बोलता है कि हाँ सर मैंने ये लेवल ऑफ वर्क भी कंप्लीट कर दिया और ये भी कंप्लीट कर दिया, मेरा आंसर हो गया यस. Tomorrow it goes for submission. The boss sees, he says, I didn't like your job here, I didn't like your job here. Automatically, have you completed your project? No, because the boss rejected your 2 stages of the project. Even for the boss is easier. ज्यादा कुछ करना नहीं है, जाके सिर्फ टिक मार्क ऑन करना है या टिक मार्क ऑफ करना है बेस्ड ऑन द परफॉर्मेंस. But I can have one more thing which can be more interesting also. यार अगर उसने प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट किया है तो लेट हिम फील लिटिल हैप्पी. तो क्या करेंगे, अगर यस आंसर आएगा तो हम उसको ग्रीन सिग्नल दे देंगे, और अगर नो आंसर आएगा तो हम उसको नो सिग्नल देंगे. करेक्ट. तो क्या कर सकते हैं, इधर ग्रीन अगर मुझे देना है जब यस आए तो फॉर्मेटिंग हाईलाइट सेल्स व्हेनेवर टेक्स्ट दैट contains yes and give it a green signal. तो इसको ग्रीन कलर का सिग्नल दे देते हैं, और जो हमारा फॉन्ट है उसको हम व्हाइट में कर देते हैं सो दैट विजिबल हो जाएगा. तो आई टुक अ डार्क ग्रीन ना, तो विजिबिलिटी आ जाएगी. ये जो ग्रीन लेते हैं, दिस इज बेटर ग्रीन. ठीक है, Look at that, lovely है. तो जैसे ही नो हो जाएगा चल पाएगा. अब मेरा नेक्स्ट कंडीशन है, जब नो होगा तो मुझे उसको रेड सिग्नल देना है. तो बड़ा सिंपल है, सेम थिंग करेंगे. इस टाइम पे टेक्स्ट दैट कंटेन्स नो, वी विल गिव हिम द कलर रेड. तो जब वो ग्रीन हो जाएगा समझ जाएगा कि मैं निकल गया हूं, रेड हो गया तो फेल हो गया भाई. तो जैसे ही यस होगा लवली, और जैसे ही नो होगा रेड. सो योर एंटायर शीट नाउ हैज गॉट अ लवली systematic way of creating a checklist. And to move one step further, I don't like this. I taught you all this last time also. देखिए कहां अप्लाई होता है ये. कस्टम में जाके इधर मुझे सिर्फ 3 सेमीकोलन डालने हैं और मेरा काम हो गया. नाउ सी योर चेकलिस्ट. सुपर. हाँ, अब जब मैं ये चेकलिस्ट प्रिंट करूंगा तो मुझे ऐसा दिखेगा. एक्सीलेंट, प्रोफेशनल एंड परफेक्ट. और भी इसको बेटर करना है. यहाँ पे अलाइनमेंट का इश्यू हो रहा है, इसको बस. अब मेरा हो गया चेकलिस्ट परफेक्ट. अब जैसे यहां करूंगा नो आएगा, यस करना है यस आएगा.